Hello, US 101 history class. Late start. Here we are. We're at the final. I still need to get the rest of the grading done. And so I plan on tackling that today and tomorrow. Please note that the final is due by midnight this Thursday. Okay, this Thursday. And also, um, if anybody has an issue with their grade, if you feel like you've been graded unfairly, if you want to contest something, um please, let's talk about this before the final. I'm very approachable, but I do also want you to think through this. So is this just you? Like, I'm not asking about if you had a hard time during the semester and I'm not negotiating any more late work in that way. But I'm saying, though, did you feel like that I made a promise that I didn't keep in that regards? Do you feel like there was something that was graded and again, it wasn't fair? Something that possibly we can fix through an understanding before I put in the grades in the Pirates net next weekend. Okay. Um, I'm working from home today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. The rest of the week, I'm actually working a lot at my other job, and it's very physical and it's long, and I still am going to be making sure I get your guys' grades in on time. But what I'm saying is my time's going to be limited, and if we need to just have a calm, thoughtful discussion, we can meet up for Zoom office hours, or we can talk on the phone. But write to me directly to Canvas first. So, like, if you are wanting to communicate with me about something, you want to write to me in Canvas. Let's make an arrangement in which we can communicate together in a way that you feel comfortable with. And remember, I honestly, every one of you, I've wanted to do well, and some of you have struggled this semester for various reasons. There's no judgment on my part, and I've written to you. I've been a little bit frustrated with some folks ignoring some of my feedback, and then I have to reiterate or discuss, or not, people not looking at my announcements. But look, and I understand I'm busy too, and I've been a student, and it's not easy to concentrate. And I also overlook things. When we're really busy, we're all pretty much. It's just really hard to kind of get it all together. So, but the thing is, I'm in the same boat. So, um, I have a deadline. I have to get work done at a certain time. I also have 3 classes. So I have a lot of students talking to me, and sometimes I think they forget that I have several students like them with a life experience, and they've wanted extra late work turned in, or all this kind of stuff, and that I was not able to. I'm limited on the time that I can do, and how to help folks, especially at this time, right? So please just keep that in mind. I want you to be able to end this class, knowing it's fair. Look, if you fail my class, but you feel like it was because of circumstances, and you get the format now. If you want to take my class again when I have 101, and just remind me, because these things fill up. I will get you back in my class and let you retake it, and you can utilize some of your old work from the semester. I'll talk about how that can be done. That's for the future date, but I want to let you know that I can work with you if you end up having to take my class again. I had to take classes over when I was at MJC, by the way, that I failed because of circumstances. So I've been there. So this is very important. Okay, now in terms of the exam, please listen to me carefully. Everybody, this is very important. So you'll notice it's not that many points. It's like uh, the first exam. And the way that I set things up is that success in this class was keeping up with the class, taking advantage of extra credit opportunities that I gave plenty of. taking advantage of weeks that I didn't have required essays. Whatever the case is, uh, there's many students that kept up, and what you're going to see is that success in this class is not based on the final. I never really understood that. There's classes set up where it's like you don't do anything all semester, but you do well on the final and you pass, or you did great on the semester with your work, but you didn't do well on this final exam, and so your grade is harmed tremendously. So basically, what you've been doing in the class to me is where you're at. And so there are some points that you can tip the balance for some of you to go into a different grade that you need to, or it can put you back where you don't want to go. But here's the thing. Some of you have enough points that this won't make a difference. And you might be in a point range where whether you do bad or good on this exam, it's not going to change your grade. So when students don't do the exam because of that, I don't take it personal. And what I want you to do is you write to me on Canvas and you say, under the final, just say, Mr. Pollock, I'm not going to take the final. Okay? I'm going to take a 0. Now, I believe Canvas has it set up that you can even check and put like a 0 grade in your, like, what will it look like if you get a 0? Okay? And so, but this leads me to the next point. I will not, under any circumstances, answer you if you ask me, can you afford to take this exam or not? I'm not walking through hundreds of students' grades to check and see if you can afford to not take this exam or not, or how it's going to affect your grade. That's something that you can do on your own. That's a choice that you can make. I officially give an exam, as I'm required to do for a final, as a professor. The choice is totally up to you on whether you want to take that move and say, hey, I don't want to do the exam. Okay? But again, please don't even try to ask me about what's going to happen if you don't take the exam or anything like that. You can look and see, and you can do that on your own. So yeah, just make sure that you're looking at that. Last thing, also to remind you, you're going to see assignments that I didn't assign in class. And in fact, sometimes some folks try to do assignments that I didn't assign in class. Canvas, one of my issues is once I assign an assignment, let's say I want to switch it and I do something else, trying to delete that one specifically without deleting others is kind of difficult. At least the last time that I was trying to mess around with this. And so I kind of like, in the grade book, there's a graveyard of old assignments that's kind of just like left there. And that can be a little confusing. I deeply apologize about that. At some point, I need to get a hold of somebody in Canvas to try to help me navigate through so I can get rid of them and not ruin my other stuff. So that's what that's all about. So don't worry about any of those assignments that you were never assigned. There was only ones in your module, okay? And so then lastly, I know this has already gone on a while, this announcement. I hope that you really see the power of learning what you have and understanding the buildup, the colonial settler development of the United States, the constitutional development, the balance of powers, the controversy, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the good, right? That it's a mixture of all these things. And the Civil War that we've had, and the issue of slavery and its precedent in U.S. history, and displacement of indigenous people, but also its inclusion in the fact that we also have Native Americans who are conservative politicians in the U.S. military, and we have same with Americans that are from the African diaspora who came here maybe and were enslaved and now are in high positions in the U.S. government. And there's different opinions. There's not one monolithic culture or society. Same with every group in the United States has its own history, its effects of the history we covered, sometimes negative or positive. But despite all of that, whether it's been really positive or negative, have different sets of politics or views and thoughts about what America is now and where it's going and where it should go. And even, of course, debates about the past, right? So, I subjected you to that Birth of a Nation film. One of the reasons is my mentor, a man who fought against segregation in the South, growing up as a kid. He's a white Jewish man who also ended up being very pro-Palestinian after he saw how Palestinians were treated in the West Bank and Israel when he went there. Um, it was interesting. He's a very, I could do a whole class just on this guy. He's a very interesting man, but he has a PhD in U.S. history. But he said that he had to watch Birth of a Nation as a white Southerner several times in his childhood, taught as history. So elementary kids were made to watch that long silent film several times over, according to him, in Florida. And he lived next to a school that was named after Forrester, the guy who founded the KKK, the Confederate general, which now that school no longer celebrates that it doesn't go by that name anymore. But so all of this history that I showed you, it explains a lot about how we've got to where our world is today and the issue of racism still and all these other different things. So I hope you found this to be edifying, eye-opening, and engaging no matter what your politics. I'm sorry if there's any issues with the structure of the class. It's difficult. Late start classes are very difficult and challenging for me as well. But in any case, I enjoyed having you all, and I wish you all well, and good luck with your finals and the choices that you make regarding the final coming up.